So hi, I'm Jabeth Willett, and this is my video for the peer support research in the class Procedures for Students with Moderate to Profound Disabilities in Summer 2. Alright, my paper is all about students who don't have a lot of friends, who have disabilities that affect them socially, so that they not only have trouble working in school, learning in school, progressing in school, they also have trouble going to the store or having a birthday party or having a friend, just a friend to laugh with, to talk with, to share bad days with, to share good days with. So, anyway, this starts out talking about the inclusive classroom, where which is the easiest way for kids to become friends. They can work together, learn social skills, learn how to work in a group. Because believe me, I've had several students who not good group workers, really don't want to be good group workers, but we work on it. So the kids can, kids without disabilities can learn from kids with disabilities. It's not all about one or the other. And through peer groups, the teacher instructs the student without disabilities on how to work with the student with disabilities. And really, it's kind of simple when it's just on that level. You guys just work together. The problem is you have to make sure one student doesn't do all the work and the other student just sit there and go, he can do it. I don't have to. Because then neither one of them really learn all that they can do, all that they can get from that lesson. We moved down to talk about more severe kids, or kids with more severe disabilities who maybe wheelchair bound or have cerebral palsy or have had a stroke before or have autism. And I even kind of learned a little, even though I've worked with a bunch of kids like this in these situations. But now that I think back after writing this paper, I'm thinking, now I can see another reason why we work so hard with them for these kiddos. I had a little girl who was wheelchair bound, and she would just laugh when we would read to her, and we would call her name, and she just loved to hear her own name called. It's such simple, innocent truth that we just don't capitalize on for some of our kiddos. And it makes their day brighter. And yes, these kiddos have good days and bad days and needs and wants and hopes and dreams just like everyone. And I think sometimes their disability becomes their forefront, so that their hopes and their feelings are left way out, totally left behind. Well, with peers, with peer groups, lunch buddies, people to play with in sports, just people like, oh my gosh, Special Olympics, just makes their day and makes their world. But it has to be more than a day. It has to last. It needs to be something that's done all throughout the school year to make, really strong bonds that could last a lifetime. I think we need to examine that more for these kiddos and think about their lives, but not only just for the kiddos. We need to think about it for the parents too. It's tough enough to have a child with disabilities. It's tough to have a child with special needs. It's even more tough to have a lonely, sad child who is just left out. So we talked about peer support groups. We talked about Special Olympics in the paper. I thought about talking about Goodwill and how if you work with these projects in these peer groups and help a student, like, okay, say a student can organize really well, he can categorize really well, but maybe not be able to explain it real well or have a conversation about it. For a customer, having this peer group could help him understand more of what he's doing, more of why he's doing it, and then just talk about it. Just have something to talk about. Communication is so important when these students, or when people in general, get out in the real world. Oops, I see a mistake. Okay, well, yeah, sorry. Talked about functional skills, living skills, the kids being in, the kids learning these skills in isolation, and having difficulty to just generalize them to the social aspect of life, and in their futures and their adulthood. Um, yeah, we talked about how children with autism who already have problems recognizing social cues, facial cues, things like that could really benefit from friendship models. One thing, the most important thing I did run across was though that has to have consent from both parts. I may not have always thought that through real well. Um, I know may ask, would you mind working with, or could you go work with? In the middle of things, not sure I ever really stopped to think that I should pull them aside and maybe say, hey, this is what's going on. Would you like to be a part of this? And here, let me show you how. So I think that's a big issue we need to talk about. I really enjoyed this class. Thank you.